Hi, and in today's video, I'm talking about those thoughts that come into our minds that we don't want. Hi, my name's Catherine, and I had a comment on one of my shorts yesterday about living in the present, and one of my wonderful viewers was asking me, well, how do we stop those thoughts that we don't like coming into our minds, those thoughts that cause us sadness or upset? How do we stop those thoughts coming in? Okay, so that's just what I want to concentrate on today. So up until a few months ago, I was someone who had racing thoughts. All the time thoughts were coming in and coming out of my mind, and they were just like chaos inside. And slowly but surely, I have learned to control what is coming in, the thoughts that come in. And this has happened sort of organically by me becoming an observer of my thoughts. So I just want to talk you through the process in the hope that as it helped me, that it might help you too. So when we can become an observer of our thoughts, we can it's almost like a mental house cleaning of our mind. Suddenly we are in control of the thoughts that are coming in. Now, first of all, the key thing is that we mustn't fight our thoughts, because actually when we fight them, when we don't want to be thinking about them, they come back stronger. For example, if I say to you, do not think of a pink elephant, what are you thinking of? A pink elephant. Yeah, so what we have to do is we have to learn not to resist. Apologies, hang on, my arm is really hurting and I don't want to, I'm just going to rest my arm there because then I can talk more freely. So yeah, what do we do? Okay, so there are some thoughts that we have that come into our minds that are upsetting. They have a lot of emotion attached to them. But I believe that if we can just process those and not fight them, then when they come back with a lessened emotion. Okay? So for example, if I'm having thoughts in my mind about a particular thing that's happening in my life, or someone that I care for that I find really upsetting, yeah, the natural reaction is to be like, oh, I don't, you're resisting it because it's painful. It's painful to have those thoughts. But if you can just take some time out in your day, yeah, because it's like a form of exercise. Really, it's almost like going to the gym. You're starting the process of training your mind. Yeah, so first of all, we need to process those thoughts. We might not want to, but in the long run, it will make us happier. So if you just sit down somewhere quietly for a moment and you say, okay, I am going to allow those thoughts to come in. Yes, I'm going to allow those thoughts to come in. Now, your natural reaction when those thoughts come in is to kick back against them because they're upsetting and you don't like them. Yeah? Okay? Now, if you can, remember, you can get through this. Yeah? So if you can just take a moment, say, I'm having a thought. Yes? So you recognize it as a thought. It is a thought. I'm having a thought about this particular thing that I'm finding upsetting. And then you also allow that emotion to come through your body. Now, it might make you upset, it might make you cry, but that's not a bad thing, because then you're processing the emotion that is attached to that thought. Yes? And you just breathe deeply. You breathe deeply. Yeah, and you allow that thought in. Okay, and then the emotions are going to come. Yeah, the emotions will come that are attached to that thought. And it's not nice, but but you're going to do the same thing to the emotion. You're going to allow that emotion to come into your body, and it will most likely be very physical. So it might come out through ways of crying, or it might come out just through like feeling a tight chest, or whatever the physical feeling is. You're just going to go with it. You're going to see, you are in control. You're going to let that happen, and you're not going to fight the emotion. You just let that emotion come into your body. Yeah, I'm having this thought, okay, and this is making me feel upset. My emotion is upset. And you just let that come in. And it's almost like water, yes? So like as water laps down the stream, that emotion is like the water. It will come into your body, and because you're not resisting it, you will feel it. Okay, and it might not be pleasant, but you'll feel it. But then that emotion will pass through, okay? And then you're processing the emotion that is attached to that thought, yeah? And because you're not fighting it, you've now taken away, because when you get that thought, you get that emotion attached to the thought, but then you also get that natural reaction to fight that emotion too. But this time you're taking the fight away. You're just allowing it to pass through, okay? And then you can do this with other thoughts, because what you're doing is you're learning to become an observer of your thought. Okay, so now I'm having a thought about this. Yeah, I'm having a thought that, okay, and the emotion that I am having around that thought is this. I'm experiencing this emotion. Okay, so you're observing your thoughts, and you're observing the emotions that go with the thoughts. And then what you start doing in little small increments throughout the day is you just take time out, because previously all the thoughts have just been like a jumbled chaos in your mind. But this time you're becoming conscious. You're consciously aware of the thoughts that you're having, and you're saying to yourself, as the thoughts are coming in, I'm having a thought that this. I am having a thought, okay? And then you're recognizing it as a thought. Then you can say, then you're saying, okay, so I'm having a thought about this thing that's making me feel sad, right? And then you've got to do like a little bit of visualization, okay? So you're like, you want to sort of bring that thought out of your mind. You're saying, okay, so I'm having a thought that, etc., etc., and this thought is making me feel sad. And then I'm not going to not allow that thought to come in. I'm not going to resist that thought, but I'm just going to like place that thought in a corner of my mind, and I'm going to allow it to sit there, okay? I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to allow it to remain there, but I don't have to be paying attention, but it can stay. And what happens is, without you even realizing it, the more that you do this, the more that you recognize the thought that comes in, recognize the emotion that's attached to the thought, and then just allow it to stay in the corner of your mind. You're allowing it there, yeah? Then you naturally over time start ordering your thoughts. It's like you're doing like a mental house cleaning of your thoughts, and you're putting them in corners, and you're like putting them in drawers in your mind, yeah, and you're just sort of tidying your mind up. And you can do this with all the thoughts that are coming in, and you're training yourself so you're not thinking from your unconscious. You're not just sort of going about your day and thoughts are coming in and you're going, I hate that, oh god, oh no, not that, oh yeah, they're bouncing around. You're now in your consciousness. You're operating from the conscious part of your brain. Yes, okay, and you're saying, I'm having a thought that. And the more that you do this, yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, it's not immediate, but the more that you do this and you train yourself, and you're like, I've got these thoughts coming in, I'm going to allow them, and they're going to just stay there, then eventually it's like you're working the muscle in your brain. Eventually you start, it becomes like natural that you just start training your mind to not just be a jumble of thoughts. Your mind becomes ordered. And then when thoughts come in, you can say to yourself, okay, this thought is coming in, and okay, I will give this thought attention, but not right now. Okay, I might give this thought attention at maybe 7 o'clock in the evening. Okay, so you're not dismissing anything. I'm going to just keep it there. And this, if you do this each day repetitively with the thoughts, you observe the thoughts that are coming in, yeah, you give them validation, you recognize the emotion, that you're experiencing emotion around it. You are not the emotion, yeah? So you are not sad, you are not upset, you are experiencing sadness, and you're experiencing being upset around the thought. This is the emotion you are experiencing around that thought. And just do that each day. Train yourself. Take time out each day to consciously be aware of the thoughts that are coming in. Not resist them, yeah? Not resist them. And eventually, what happens is you do this automatically without even thinking about it. And then, as you put your thoughts over there, then you can gain that peace, because you are in control of what's coming in and what's going out. Okay, I will do another video on this because my dog is just so desperate for a walk, but I really did just want to reply to the viewer who messaged me, and I will do more videos, but I really hope this helps you, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions over what I'm saying. But this is a process I have been through, and it's helped me so much. So thank you for listening, thank you for being here. Do comment, like, subscribe. I always love to hear from you, and I will always reply to your comments, even if they're not immediate. Okay, and we're just finding all that peace. That's what we're trying to do, just finding that peace inside of us, because it's so important to protect our peace. Okay, sending you lots of love. Bye.